Whether you're trying to tackle a complex project or document a complicated process, flowcharts can be your secret weapon to cut through some of that chaos and make your decisions easier. Hey everyone, my name is Ricky, and throughout my software career, I've had to use these flowcharts just for those specific purposes. And in this video, we'll cover what a flowchart is, walk through an example, talk about the benefits of flowcharts, and build one out step by step to really make that information stick. So by the end of this, you'll be all set to go with flowcharts. Let's get started. So what's a flowchart? At its core, a flowchart is a visual diagram that represents a sequence of actions or steps in a process. It uses standardized symbols connected by lines or arrows to show the flow from one step to the next. You can think of it as a map that guides you through each stage of a process or decision, making complex procedures easier to understand and follow. Flowcharts simplify more than just choices though. They help organize tasks, track processes from start to finish, and outline decision paths. Instead of bouncing between options or getting stuck overthinking, a flowchart breaks everything down into manageable steps, guiding you through each decision one point at a time. Let me show you what I mean with an example. Imagine it's game night and you've just unboxed your new Neo Geo mini arcade. It's a compact console loaded with classic games like the King of Fighters and Metal Slug. With so many options, deciding which game to play and making sure everyone agrees can be a bit of a challenge. So how do you choose the perfect game for the group? First, consider who's playing. Are there young kids around? If yes, it's probably best to pick a non-violent, puzzle-based game that's suitable for all ages. If no, we can move on to the next question. Is it a competition? A head-to-head melee game like King of Fighters is just the ticket. If not, choose a cooperative game like Metal Slug that can have up to 4 players. Then, all that's left to do is play. Now, before creating this flowchart, it's helpful to jot down the criteria that matters most, but don't think about it too much right now. We're going to actually do this in our own example later in the video. So as you saw, there are some shapes, some lines, some arrows. Those are our communication pieces. Every flowchart has them. Let's go ahead and walk through what those pieces mean. Okay, first there's an oval or a circle, and that's going to indicate our starting and ending points. This is where the process or decision begins, or ends, of course. And then there's rectangles, and those are representing processes, so actions or tasks that we have along the way. And they can represent something like choosing the game, in our example. And then there are diamonds, which are decision points. These are moments when you choose between 2 or more paths. For example, are children under 12 present? Or is it a competitive session? These are decision points that's going to guide you down the right path. Now, one thing to note, there are some other shapes like a parallelogram, which represents inputs and outputs, but we are focused on the basics. This is 101. Once you get that down, feel free to go ahead and explore that yourself. And now that you have a taste of what flowcharts are, you might be thinking, okay, great. How can I use this? How can I benefit from this? Benefit 1, you have clarity in decision making. So when you're swamped with options, it's pretty easy to get overwhelmed, and flowcharts are going to help you figure that out. You can see all your options at a glance instead of circling back on the same questions. You follow a clear path, making those decisions with confidence. Benefit number 2 is reducing overthinking. We've all been there, stuck in a loop with endless deliberation. Flowcharts can help break that cycle. So by presenting these questions one at a time, they keep you focused and prevent decision fatigue. You can move forward step by step without second guessing yourself. Benefit 3 is staying organized and on track. When you're facing complex tasks, organization is key. These flowcharts act as a roadmap, breaking down those big projects into manageable steps. Whether you're launching a new business, planning an event, or pursuing a personal goal, the flowchart is there to help map out each milestone. You can easily track this project and hold yourself accountable. Benefit number 4 is to simplify those repetitive decisions. Daily life is full of repetitive choices, like what to cook, how to plan your day, budgeting weekly expenses. Flowcharts turn these recurring decisions into streamlined processes. By creating a decision template, you save time and mental energy with your path mapped out, making these choices become almost automatic. And benefit 5, great for collaboration. This is my favorite one here. Working with others can be pretty challenging when everyone isn't aligned, and flowcharts foster teamwork by providing a clear visual of the process. So whether you're coordinating a team project or planning a family trip, you can go ahead and get everyone together to see visually what you have in mind. And if there's disagreements, you can go ahead and work that out and update your flowchart. It's great for these type of use cases, especially in business. Nice! Now you have newfound knowledge about flowcharts. Are you ready to go ahead and make it stick? We're going to go ahead and go through another example here and build our own flowchart, documenting the difficult decision of deciding which new skill to learn. Don't worry, I'm going to show you mine at the end, but if you're going to follow along, now's a good time to get some pen and paper and draw out your diagram. Alright, step 1, we need to signify the start of our journey, deciding to choose a new skill. Step 2, we're going to need to grab some sort of list that we can write our skill options on. Step 3 is determining our time commitment. How much time can we dedicate to learning a new skill each week? Less than an hour? 1 to 3 hours? 3 or more hours? Step 4, we need to note on our list our time decision. Step 5, we need to choose an interest type. So thinking about what excites us most, we can have some categories. For example, creative, technical, or physical. Step 6 is list a few of those options from the selected category that satisfies the time constraint that we noted earlier. Step 7 is to identify our learning style. Now, side note here, this is just an example. I personally like to learn from any type of learning style, but it's just for simplicity. So the categories are hands-on, ideal for diving right in and practicing, visual if you like to learn by watching something, or collaborative if you prefer to learn with others. Then step 8 is to remove the skills from the list that don't fit exactly in with the selected category from before for our learning styles. Then step 9 is to just go ahead and choose a skill. All right, how'd you do? If you went ahead and did the exercise, great job. But if you're still here and you did it, also great job. If your diagram looks different than mine, that's not a big deal. These are here to convey information. They're all a little different. What matters most is that you actually did it. Now, before we go ahead and dive into this, I should probably address something. It's been a few days. That's why I look a little bit different, just in case you were wondering. This specific software is Mermaid.js. I like it a lot because I can use it to do some code here. And I just really like working that way because I've worked like that for years. However, there's no shame in using something differently. Even pen and paper is fine. And I would not recommend this software as like a starting point unless you're like a senior software engineer or above. So let's go ahead and look at this thing. Step 1 was to create a starting point. So choose a new skill. Let me zoom in here actually. Choose a new skill. And then there was a process. We need to start a skill list. And then there was a decision point I had here. And how much time can we dedicate directly was what it was. So my 3 options are less than an hour, 1 to 3 hours, or 3 or more hours. You could do something totally different, just have 2 decisions or how many you want. And then each one of these had a different process. Now we go into another decision point here. What interests you more? So something creative, something technical, or physical. So from there, we had our note that we made our skills, like we had a note to say how much time we can dedicate. And then here we get to add to our list, creative options. I mean, I just put creative options. If you wanted to be more detailed, you could like 6 creative options or a dozen, and then the preferred learning style, hands-on, visual, collaborative. And again, you have all those different processes. So the diamond is for the different decisions, processes here. After you choose that process, you only have to choose one skill and then you just have to start learning. That's it. I know this is tough, but when you get into something that is actually like pretty like hands-on, pretty hairy, let's say you have like a process or something. If you're doing a research paper and you have to document the process of something, this is awesome for that. Or if you're at work, same thing. These are fantastic. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the software options that are available and what might work best for you. Well done, well done. Another way to use flowcharts in the bag. But there's so many other ways that you can use these flowcharts. If we want to get a little more creative here on the personal side, if we're serial travelers, we can go ahead and use flowcharts to document our process and thinking every time we make a new trip so we don't have to start from scratch. And let's say you have some technical issues and you need to document the process for calling IT, there's a great use case as well. I can imagine the gears turning in your head right now. If you have any ideas, go on, let us know. Don't be stingy. All right, my first recommendation is ExcaliDraw. This tool stands out with its unique hand-drawn style, giving your flowcharts an informal and creative touch. It's really popular with software developers, it's free, open source, and it's web-based, so you can just go to a website and start using it. Number 2 is Lucidchart. They've been around for a long time. They have a lot of features that make it easy to collaborate. So this is perfect for individual projects and team efforts as well. The only thing is though, that if you do that, you may have to subscribe to one of their more professional tiers, which will cost you some money. And number 3 is Miro. I really like this one. I've used this one a lot at work professionally. It's a popular online whiteboard tool, and it's fantastic for flowcharts and brainstorming sessions. All those types of things that do with collaboration, this is my favorite tool. So if you really needed to collaborate, I really recommend this one. So the key here isn't finding the perfect software, it's more about making those flow diagrams. That's what's more important here. Now, can we all agree that flowcharts are awesome, powerful, and help us communicate better? I'm sure you got a process in mind that you're just ready to make a flowchart for. If you want to dive deeper into simplifying complex processes and separating them out, I have a video for that. It's breaking down any complex process into simple steps. You can see it on screen. It's packed with strategies to help you do this. If you have any specific questions, you can go ahead and drop them in the comments. But what if you had a personal mentor that could help you the entire way through? I have a video for that, unlocking ChatGPT's best answers that can really help you unlock these flowcharts and get them down to a T.